Hi there, Tim Bauer here from LiveVideoGuitarLessons.com with the practice tip of the day. This was for the beginning player, and this is the second in our series on the basics about reading sheet music, standard music notation. In the first video, it's over on the website www.livevideoguitarlessons.com. We covered the basics in the key of C. We learned some the notes of the staff, the lines and spaces, and we worked in the key of C because in the key of C you don't have any sharps or flats occurring naturally in that key. So it's the easiest one to read. You don't have to deal with any sharps or flats. But today, we're going to focus on the sharps and flats. And we're going to cover key signatures. Key signatures help you with that. So anyway, get some music over here. And we're going to work. I was just looking for some music I had written up for students over the years with, lots of key signatures. And sorry about the autofocus in and out. I'm going to be going back and forth here. I want to make sure that you can see that. Alright, so this is our key signature over here. Alright, so this is the key of E, and you don't have to know that this is the key of E. And by the way, sorry about the nails. I was just changing oil a little while ago and I burned my fingers a little bit, so I couldn't get the scrub brush as up underneath my fingernails as I probably should have. But anyway, by the way, a secondary note, if you're a guitar player, be careful with your fingers. It's kind of stupid to burn your fingers when you make a living as a guitar player, but I'll live. I mean, it's not bad, but it was kind of stupid to do that. But anyway, alright, so this is our key signature. Alright, so in the key of E, like I said, you don't have to know that this is the key of E. You don't have to be able to, I mean, eventually you do, but for our purposes today, we just need to know what this is telling us to do. If you remember from our first lesson, the lines and spaces, the spaces spell face of the staff, and the lines are every good boy does fine. So this top one is F. And if this were a note right here, this would be an F note. It's a sharp sign right now. What that's telling me to do, automatically, any F we run across in the rest of the music out there is automatically F sharp. It's not F. And this next one would be a C if it were a note. So that any C out there is automatically sharped. The next one would be a G, and any G out there is G sharp. And then any D's out there. So in the key of E, F, C's, G's, and D's are automatically sharp. So let's jump out into the music and see how that affects what we do. I'm going to skip this first chord right here. That's just a big E chord. And I'm going to skip a lot of the marks on here. I'm going to jump over here and try to catch the notes so we can read it real quick. And the first video ran way too long, and I want to wrap up fairly on time. Let me get this where you can see it. Alright. Alright, so that first note there, I'm trying to read it through the back here. That's a B note. Think about your key signature, F, C's, G's, and D's. B is normal, so no sharp or flat, so B is fine. This second note, though, that's a G. So the key signature says that G's are supposed to be sharped. So that's not G anymore, it's G sharp. The key signature is forcing that to be sharp. And we go to the next one, that's another B. This next note here is an A sharp. Blues has a lot of, they're called accidentals. When you do turnarounds, you intentionally put notes in there that don't belong in the key to kind of give it a little character, and that's what's going on here. So this A is not covering the key signature. It's supposed to be sharp though. The player wants it sharp, so this is an A sharp. You have to put the sharp sign out there. All right, then we go back over here. That's another G, but instead of G sharp like we had over here, the player wants it to be a regular G, G natural. Hope there's not too much glare on there and you can see this. So so that's what that sign is right there. It's a G natural. It's a natural sign. So that cancels out the key signature for a second. And then we're back over here with another B, and this is another A note, but this A is supposed to be a regular A, not an A sharp. So one I'm trying not to cover too many topics here, but one rule is that once you've established like this A is an A sharp, every other A of this particular octave for the rest of the measure is automatically sharped until you get to the end of the measure, which is what that bar line is. Then in the next measure, everything's all wiped, slate's clean, everything starts over again. But the reason there's a natural sign here is because if their natural sign was not there, you would continue to play this A as A sharp, because this is telling you to play every other A as sharp. So we want A natural there, and then over here, this is an F, and the key signature tells me F's are sharps. And then the last one is a B. So what that is, I'm going to hold that up there for a second because I couldn't tell whether it was getting too much glare on there. Maybe you can do like a screenshot on that or something and kind of look at it. But anyway, we'll see. I'll look at the video in a second, see if there's too much glare, and then I'll do it again if there is. What that's telling me to do, and you've heard this turnaround a million times, And by the way, pardon my play. My fingers are, like I said, I'll live, but my fingers are a little sore. So this hand is fine, but these are a little sore. So all right. So what that was, that first one was a big E chord. Sorry, too loud. All right. So those notes we read were this, and that was the end of that measure. And what that, if we had read the second measure, you would hear the whole thing. And you heard that, you know, that's probably the most common blues turnaround. So anyway, don't be intimidated by the sheet music. Don't rely on. I mean, tabs are a nice, you know, quick way to read stuff, but so many musicians they look at sheet music and they just get overwhelmed by it, and there's no reason to. This stuff is as easy as reading tabs, or nearly as easy as reading tabs, and you just have to. After you've read 10 to 15 notes, you'll see that it makes sense. After you've read 100 notes, you'll see that there was no reason to be intimidated in the first place, or maybe 200 notes. What happens? People don't read those first 200 notes, and they just stay intimidated by it the rest of their lives, and I don't want that to happen to you. So anyway, thanks for tuning in for this practice tip. Tune in again tomorrow for another one, and we'll expand a little bit more on the sheet music. There are lots of things to learn about in sheet music. Just want to kind of do one tip to the next tip to the next tip to the next tip. They're not going to be a million of them. They're just going to be half a dozen or so. Sorry about the autofocus. I know I'm going in and out of focus there. I wanted the camera to focus when I held the paper up close. So anyway, hope I'm not giving you a headache. So, all right, well, thanks again, and I will see you next time.